Good evening. I'm Sophia Arena, Texpatriate staff writer, and this is our Week in Review. Despite being one of the final weeks before early voting begins in the mayoral election, action in that race nearly came to a screeching halt as the majority of the state's news came from the gubernatorial race, which is already heating up 11 months before Election Day. Additionally, the crowded Republican primary for lieutenant governor has become more intense as well. One of the candidates, State Senator Dan Patrick, recently explained at a candidates forum that he favored the repeal of the 2001 law that allows those brought into this country illegally as minor children to pay in-state tuition to public universities in Texas. Further, Senator Patrick stated that he was the only candidate to hold this viewpoint. Within hours, the other three candidates were quick to adhere to this new conservative talking point. In gubernatorial election news, State Senator Wendy Davis, the presumptive Democratic nominee, released an online commercial introducing herself to the voters of the state. While other candidates such as John Cornyn and Todd Staples also released ads this week, it was Davis who stole the spotlight. The ad, which is a few minutes long, focuses upon her path from a Fort Worth trailer park to Harvard Law School and then to the state Senate. While it mentions many high-priority positions of hers, such as educational funding, it avoids a single mention of social issues. Wendy Davis also held a press conference with Mayor Annise Parker in Houston this week. The two discussed the issue of backlogged, untested rape kits, something that has been a problem both in Houston and throughout the state. The duo discussed their respective ways of dealing with the issue. While Parker worked to contract an outside organization to test the kits, Davis authored a successful bill in the legislature to migrate this problem with some increased funding. Attorney General Greg Abbott was also in the news this week as he held a joint press conference with the Republican National Committee, also in Houston, to announce the creation of new outreach efforts towards Hispanic Republicans and conservatives in Texas. Speaking at the event, Abbott underscored his belief that Hispanics in the state would be drawn towards the Republican Party's socially conservative views. The new outreach efforts will be led by Aaron Pena, the former state representative who famously switched the Republican Party 2 years ago. The gubernatorial campaign also welcomed a new candidate this week, Lisa Fritz, a longtime political pundit. Fritz is a favorite of the Tea Party who plans on running to the right of the two established candidates, Abbott and Tom Pauken, the former chair of the Texas Republican Party. Another Democrat also took the leap this week to announce his candidacy for a statewide office. Mike Collier, a former executive for an energy company, officially announced his campaign for comptroller. Collier also released an introductory video. The Lone Star Project also heavily implied a forthcoming Democratic candidacy for Attorney General. Sam Houston, an attorney who ran for the Supreme Court in 2008, looks like he is all but certain to run for Attorney General next year. In other news around the state, the city of Corpus Christi unanimously voted to ban texting while driving this week. The city joined others such as diverse as Amarillo, Bel Air, Dallas, and Galveston. Mayor Annise Parker, who supports such a ban, is still said to be waiting it out until an education campaign may be completed, before she attempts to enact any sort of ordinance or regulation. In Houston, the biggest news was the single televised mayoral debate that took place this week. All of the mayoral candidates and some of the fringe extremists showed up and took turns taking jabs at one another. The participants included Michael Fitzsimmons and Don Cook, two leftists who kept trying to outdo one another with the most out-of-statement statement. Eric Dick, the one Republican in the face, did little in the debate besides mentioning his website and providing the occasional blatantly false statement. All in all, there were too many candidates and too little time for any consensus to be reached on who won the debate, though Ben Hall and Annise Parker both certainly held their own against one another. Ben Hall, however, could only wish the rest of the week would turn out as well for him. Shortly thereafter, Fox Channel 26 reported that Ben Hall would not be airing any more television commercials in the final 3 weeks of the campaign. This was either done because Hall is so confident that the Mayor Parker will receive a minority of the vote and will be forced to face off against him in a December runoff, or because Hall is simply given up. On Friday, Ben Hall also abruptly canceled his appearance at a Houston Chronicle editorial endorsement screening roughly 15 minutes before his scheduled appearance. Hall did this ostensibly because of disagreements with the paper over his demand that the meeting be open to forums of media or filmed and distributed. To the Chronicle's credit, they have never done this before and they refuse to comply with the odd requests. The Houston Chronicle offered some endorsements in municipal races this week, though Brenda Stardig for District A, Jerry Davis for District B, Anthony Robinson for District D, Al Wong for District District F, Oliver Pennington for District G, Stephen Costello for at-large position number 1, and David Robinson for at-large position 2. Texpatriate also continued its endorsements. This week, we have selected James Horowitz for Attorney at Large position 5, Robert Gallegos for District I. The editorial board also failed to reach a majority consensus in District A, District D, and at-large position 3. In each of those races, the individual editorial board members made their own decisions. Noah M. Horowitz, for his part, selected Amy Peck, Anthony Robinson, and Roland Chavez in those races, respectively. This is Texpatriate's Week in Review.